is Mark and Charity Mornings.
Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast, Friday, October the 8th, leading into Thanksgiving. Broadcast in Belleville, Ontario, Canada.
Thanksgiving in Canada, we should say.
Should point it out.
Because some people get a little taken aback that we have Thanksgiving in October.
Some people in the United States are taken aback that we have Thanksgiving. I don't know, and they go through that every year. They know we do Christmas. They know we do New Year's, Easter, Halloween, all of that stuff. But for whatever
throws
reason,
them through a loop. And we talked about this yesterday. It's kind of like the scheduling thing. It happens every year.
Every year.
But we can't seem to get our heads around it. Christmas is fine, but for some reason, Thanksgiving likes to throw a wrench in it.
Harvest is a little bit sooner up here, so we celebrate in October. It used to be in midweek in April.
Yes. It
Canada.
wasn't always in the fall, which I did not realize because it goes hand in hand with the harvest. So you just assume. But at one time, no, it was in April on a Wednesday.
So it would be like, I guess, giving thanks that you survived the winter in a harsh, barren country, I suppose. But I'm all for an October long weekend.
I laugh, but that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was giving thanks, thanking the Lord at that time for keeping them safe, trudging through the woods here in this how Canada was way back when, just the wilderness, and celebrating.
Yep. So now we do it in October. Amen to that. We get a long weekend.
It's a lot better.
It is.
It is.
And Charity brought me Apple Crisp. Apple Crumble.
Apple Crisp.
Apple Crisp, which I like.
This is kind of my signature dish.
And I appreciate that. It cost you your marriage pretty close.
Almost. The husband
close.
walked in the door yesterday and smelled it and was very, very excited. And I had to say no. But not yet. He's going to get plenty over the weekend.
Okay.
Apple Crisp. He's going to get lots of Apple Crisp over the weekend. Trust me.
You said, honey, I'm giving it to Mark before I give it to you. No.
What? No.
No.
Apple Crisp, because it is a favorite in our household. And I didn't know it was a favorite of yours. So when you said that, I thought, you know what? I will show my thanks for working with you every day. I will make you an Apple Crisp.
But now, like when you make it, you're going to have to make two. Because
if you
I'm
like
going to want it all the time.
If you,
what do you mean I won't like it?
Now there's even more pressure because
I will love it. I will love it and I will eat it. I'm going to go home today, mow my lawn, work on closing up the trailer, all the other stuff we do in October.
And enjoy some Apple Crisp.
Know that I'm going to get some microwaved Apple Crisp with cheese.
Well, you could put it in the oven really low while you're doing all that.
True,
and then it's
I can
nice
do
and
that.
warm. But it did raise the question because you like to poke a little bit and you were referring to it as pie.
It's pie. It's Apple Crisp
so
pie.
That created the discussion of, okay, well, what's the difference? And I
said Apple Crisp was my favorite pie.
Yes.
And you said Apple Crisp isn't pie.
It's not pie.
I'm like, yeah, it is.
It is a dessert.
Comes
it is in the dessert
tin.
family.
Yeah.
Who puts it in a pie tin?
I just, isn't that a pie tin? What is it? What do you have it in?
That is I say tin foil. It's not even a tin foil, but it's one of those, it's like it's a foil
like a
dish, but it's not a pie plate. It's
boy.
not circular. It's square.
Splitting hairs.
Pie plate is circular, and pies have pastry, and an Apple Crisp does not have pastry. There's no bottom to an Apple Crisp. It's just the apples and then the crumble on top.
So we just can't agree to disagree on this. It just
really bothered me. You're right. I don't know. He's called it a pie, and it hit a nerve.
I find it a compliment. In my head, it's a compliment that you are about to make my favorite pie. And you're like, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate that.
Enjoy. I hope you and your family enjoy it this weekend.
I wonder if I am one of a handful of Canadians who would say that at Thanksgiving, you got to give me the apple pie because you can't find pumpkin sometimes because it's flying off the shelf. Everybody this time of year gets their pumpkin pie because it's only at select times of year. And pumpkin's huge right now. So I got a pumpkin pie that's already been, my wife and daughter, they're already into it. They can't wait.
Well, and I was in a store recently and they had a huge display.
That's right.
Of pies in the front of the store. So you walk in, there it is. And they were already bringing out a trolley of more pies.
You can get it.
So it's and we'll have that on the weekend as well. I've already been told that's one of the pies that will be
pumpkin
part
pie.
of the dessert.
You a
pumpkin,
fan?
Raspberry, and apple. Not right. No.
No.
I love this. I love the smell of pumpkin. Maybe it's the nutmeg. I'm not sure, but that smell.
Right.
Nope, not a fan. Not even a little bit.
When I look at a pumpkin pie, it's the texture. It looks like pudding.
That's part of
to
it.
me. And it's like,
no.
And then you have to have the whipped cream on top of it.
No.
So My wife, strawberry rhubarb
Oh,
is her. Boy, she can't walk past that.
really?
Don't turn that down because that
raspberry's mine. You were about to say that. That would be mine. Yeah.
Yep. So apple.
So you'll have
Apple pie.
pumpkin, the apple crisp, and a
apple pie.
strawberry.
No, and an apple pie. I don't
an
have a
apple
strawberry
pie?
rhubarb.
No?
Kath loves it, but
not
I don't
for
have
Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Well, maybe. I'm lazy. Now I have to go get one. Now that we've talked about it, she's going to hear the podcast.
You better
and
go
be
get
like,
one.
Well, where's that pie?
But you mentioned apple pie, and this was something else we discussed this week too on our radio show, was the fact that some people think it's so crazy to have cheese with your apple pie. And you and I both grew up
my
in
gosh,
households where
yeah.
that was the norm. You had apple pie. There was also cheese on the table too to have with it.
My wife's family, when we had Thanksgiving with them a few times, her niece's husband. So it's about as far as to not be related to somebody I have to spend time with in a holiday, right?
Yes.
And niece's holiday.
Yeah.
He would wait until I would get the cheese. It's like, you did it again. It's like, what do you mean? What's with apple pie and cheese? It's like, you're the only person who's never heard of this before. Mm-hmm. Everybody has apple pie with cheese, but apparently not. I love it.
And it's funny you say that because I'm sitting here thinking, and it was in our house, but it always seemed to be the men. Like my grandfather, I remember eating
I got that from my father.
dad,
Yep.
my father-in-law, they all enjoy cheese with apple pie.
Apple pie.
I never see women.
Gotta have it.
It must be a guy thing.
But your father, your grandfather, sharp cheese?
Yes,
Sharp
my
old-
grandfather loved
Yeah.
sharp cheese in general, but that's what he has to have with his apple pie, like a sharp, really.
See, I'm medium cheddar,
Old.
but I'm vanilla ice cream and white
You
bread
are.
too. So it's like, can we make this any plainer? That'd be great. Thank you. But
Now I'm hungry.
So I got the brick of cheese ready for that. I went out and bought the turkey. When do you take the turkey out of the freezer? Do you know that? Do you know the story about this?
When?
I had to learn this. Well,
There's
I'm
a
sorry.
story?
There's a rule.
I always
I
thought it
didn't know
was the
that.
morning you were doing it or the night before.
48 hours before you're going to put it in the oven, you put it in your fridge, frozen. We looked it up.
48 hours. So
Yep.
2 days before. So when are you eating?
We're
Sunday?
having ours
So
on Sunday.
it'll be out today?
It's already there.
Really?
Kath put it in the fridge last night just to make sure. Because the whole thought is, well, don't you just put it in the sink? And the idea they
Yeah.
say is you shouldn't let it thaw at room temperature. It should thaw out still in the cold of a refrigerator for 2 days. Bigger the turkey, probably add another day.
Yeah.
So if you got a 25-pounder,
Like cooking it, yeah.
yeah, then you've got to do like 4 days. But for us, I think we have a 6 or 7 kilogram turkey.
Do you know what's awful? And I do. I feel guilty about this. I feel like I am lacking. I have cooked a turkey once in my lifetime so far. Once.
Okay. Yeah, because,
My mom does it.
right.
And it's that tradition of, and this was the first year I did ask her, would you like me to do this? Would you like my sister and I, one of us,
Yeah,
to take over and do this? And she said, in a couple of years.
right.
Because
That's going to be
does.
hard for her.
And that's just it. We still gather at their house.
Yep.
And my parents, I don't consider old, but they're older.
Right.
And it's kind of that transition.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of entering that phase, but I have only cooked a turkey once in my lifetime.
How was it?
It was good.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It wasn't my mom's. It never and that's
Yeah.
just it.
But your mother will
But it's-
say that was so good.
Oh, I'm
'cause
sure she
cook.
didn't have to do it.
But I
yeah.
bet you that's going to be a hard Thanksgiving for her to give that up.
It'll be hard for us too, I think, because
Yeah.
there is something about
Going
going
to
to
mom and
mom's.
dad. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And having dinner there.
Kath makes great turkey, but I just don't like it. And it's got nothing to do with...
What do you mean? She makes
I'm not
great
taking-
turkey,
oh,
but
she
you
makes
just
a
don't
great
like turkey?
Yeah, like given a choice, I'll always pick ham
Oh, okay.
over
turkey.
turkey. But I tell her when I'm carving the turkey, like that moment is in my head. Today's a big day because I'm carving a turkey. It's either Thanksgiving or Christmas because those
It's
are
a
the
good
only
day.
2
Yeah.
days
It's a holiday,
we
something.
ever have this that I pull out the carver and away I go. So today must be a big day.
It's funny you say that because my parents used to have an electric carver,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad always carves the meat too. And that's funny you say because anytime I hear that, it's
Yeah.
like, yep, something good's happening today.
Becomes this Pavlovian thing of
Yep.
where are the
You're
knives for the
gathering
carver?
yeah. It's very
So,
it's funny those traditions and those sounds and smells that we all carry with us.
And because we are Canadian, we consider other people. And Thanksgiving was a time, thanks to the citywide food drive, when the Gleaners Food Bank would stock its shelves in time for Thanksgiving. Last year, because of the pandemic, no citywide food drive.
Yeah.
And they were hurting from Thanksgiving to Christmas. They were really hustling to do what they could. So this year, still no citywide. And yet, we had Suzanne Quinlan on the show this morning. They have more people using the services, double-edged sword. Fewer groceries coming in, more people are coming in.
Yes.
So please, if you're living in the Quinte region, listening to the show and listening to the podcast, when you're shopping this weekend, Suzanne this morning encouraged people, buy the pre-made bags the grocery stores put on shelves.
Many of them are carrying them, and it's an easy add-on to your groceries.
And
you
those
just throw them on,
bags,
and away you go.
Grocery stores know what the staple items are that the food bag needs, so they're already pre-packed with the stuff we need. But you talked about the obvious stuff: pastas, soups. Some perishables because they have a fridge. Some
they have
freezers.
a fridge now. They can keep food, and don't forget about the baby items too. The pablum and the formula, and that there's a full list on their website that you can have a look at if you want to buy the individual. The paper bags, of course, the easiest way to go to help out gleaners. But here locally, yes, if you can help, of course, wherever you are, please, if you can, donate to these organizations and they do so much more in the community that you're not even aware of. Again, we were talking with Suzanne from Gleaners, and if the health unit, I had no idea that if someone has to go into quarantine from COVID or something else, the health unit will actually contact a food bank to take food to them. In this case, Gleaners. So it's up to them to package the food up and take it to them if they can't be out. I had no idea they did that. I didn't know that's who they called.
Same thing for BGH. She was saying this morning, sometimes people are at the hospital. We deliver the food. You would assume a grown child or a nephew would be in charge of you.
A family member or a friend.
It's not always possible. If they're not there, Gleaners gets that phone call and they deliver the food.
Yep.
And for that reason, they said we could probably use some volunteer drivers.
Exactly.
Had no idea. She said sometimes people that need food on Tuesday don't get it till Friday because we don't have enough drivers. People who rely on the food bank. And that
hit when she said that.
I couldn't believe that.
I stopped and I thought, oh my God, could you imagine? That's you need food. Your cupboard's bare, but you have to wait a couple of days because no one can get it to you.
And again, people would love to volunteer, but we're in a COVID pandemic, so they don't. There are so many ways you can help out. Contact the Gleaners Food Bank if you'd like to become a volunteer driver. And I always think of this, from October until Christmas, because I'm old. Harry Chapin was a singer-songwriter who passed away tragically in 1981. But he was one of the first ones that made food scarcity and food vulnerability a thing. He was the first one I ever heard about that.
Really?
And he used to say, all of the money that I raise in my T-shirt sales are going to go to, I think it was called Feed America at that time, which is, and everybody was like, what are you talking about? Like, we live in a rich society. Who's going hungry? And he said, because we never knew back then. Now we do.
Yep.
He was one of the first people. And he did a thing that said, what would be great is every school before Thanksgiving would have an assembly and talk about, we're going to do a food drive. And they would raise a bunch of food. He said, what would be great is if they said, thank you. Now, everybody think, what are these families going to do next week?
Yeah.
Silence. They don't just eat at Thanksgiving. So I kind of like to think from Thanksgiving to Christmas, good educational time for the kids to say, how about for the next 3 months when we go shopping? Let's always remember to buy a few more items. We'll put them in bags. We'll drop it off as a way to teach charity and things with the kids as part of a family. Don't just rely on schools because as we learned in Fire Prevention Week, we can't get everybody into the schools all the time. So
true.
When I heard that this morning from Suzanne, it broke my heart.
Yeah,
like
it
we
really
know
does.
the need is there. We try not to be, hard-hearted about it, that we know it's there and so we'll help. But it's bigger than we think in other areas we never even thought of.
And again, it's because of COVID, it's grown exponentially. People who might not have needed it a year and a half ago now do. The price of groceries has gone up. With work, you might not be doing the same job you were doing before, or for whatever reasons, things happen. And yes, more people are in need. They need to use these organizations within different communities. So help out if you can.
We could make it stretch when gas was $1.09. Now it's $1.42.
Exactly.
So now all of that sort of thing.
So many contributing factors to it.
So happy Thanksgiving. When we come back on Tuesday, Beat the Bank for Sandra Hussey's
We're going to play it on
here.
Tuesday. Yes, Monday's a holiday and we're bumping it.
$10,000. Sing for Bling is going to be coming back, and
lots more.
And I'm going to be about 8 pounds heavier, I suspect. And I can't wait to dig into the apple crisp that is not a pie.
Well, hopefully I'll help you up the stairs if you're struggling when I come in on
I'm still
on
there.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm just taking a nap, Charity. Step over me.
Go ahead. I'll be there.
Just having a nap. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for listening to Mark and Cherry Coffee Podcast. here on all of your favorite platforms, daily, Monday through Friday. Our 15-minute little coffee break with you. Join us on the air, 95.5 Hits FM in Belleville, Ontario. It's Friday, October the 8th. Happy Thanksgiving from Mark and Charity Mornings.